glory. I am as God created me, in the light, in the love, in the glory. In the light, in the love, in the glory. In the light, in the love, in the glory. In the light, in the love, in the glory, I am. In the light, in the love, in the glory. In the light, in the love, in the glory. In the light, in the love, in the glory, I am.
Good Sunday morning, you all. Wow. I just saw many of you just a few hours ago. We had Reverend Stephanie Clark had the what was it called, luau at her home in Medford, and we had a pool party, and despite the 100 and whatever degree temperatures, we played and were kids again. It was wonderful. And Julie Sorensen's group of hula dancers performed, and she taught us a shell chorus. It was wonderful. So thanks to Rev Steph for hosting, and to everybody who came. So I am Kimberly Hawkins, Senior Minister here. It's a pleasure, as always, to welcome you to Center for Spiritual Living Rogue Valley in partnership with Unity of Medford. And Rev Stephanie just walked in. Yay, Rev, we just talked about your party. Thank you. And a lot of us made it this morning. Imagine that, including you. I gotta admit, I was a little slow waking up this morning. Yeah. So let's see. We are, as I like to say, a radically inclusive, spiritually progressive faith community. And we welcome you all, no matter where you may happen to be on your own personal spiritual journey. Today, tomorrow, it changes, right? If there's anyone here for the first time, I'm not sure I see a newcomer, please raise your hand. Anybody for the first time? Not today. All righty. I'm going to introduce a few folks. We have Alyssa and Mitchell, our beautiful musicians today. And they will be doing a concert after service. I know I am really looking forward to that. I also want to mention that up on the slides before service, I had pictures of my Canada trip. I hope you got to see them, and maybe Corey can run that afterwards too, in case you didn't get to see it. We have on the platform our brand new practitioner, Morel Wyeth, who will be doing our invocation and reading. Yeah. And she's also agreed to sit high watch, because the person who was supposed to do high watch, I probably didn't get a message, but isn't here today. So we're baptizing her by fire, but as somebody said, I think it was Vivian, Morel is fireproof. Yeah. So let's see. Anybody else? Let's see. I guess I want to say, if you haven't already turned your cell phone off or in airplane mode, please do so. We have a team in the back, Vivian and Corey and Tom Frederick, our AV team today, and Corey is alone on camera, so he's instructed me to not move around too much. So if you see me wandering, just go like this as a reminder. All right, I think that's covering everything for now. I'll go ahead and announce this now. I was going to hold it till the announcements, but I was asked to meet with, I don't know how to word this to keep it really anonymous. I was asked for a meeting this week, and I thought it would be a pastoral counseling meeting, or what you call it? Pastoral coaching, right? We're not supposed to say counseling. And instead, what I received were 2 checks in the amount of $50,000. And they were designated for finding a new building, not necessarily a brand new building, and or salary if we need somebody to head a capital campaign. So I am so deeply grateful, and what a shot in the arm. So, I love this space. It is truly saturated with prayer and the unity tradition and a Christian church before that, and with our deep desire to grow youth and family and kids programs. We need more space. So that was a beautiful, beautiful gift, and I am so, so very grateful. So on that note, I'm going to ask us all to take our collective deep breath this morning as I turn things over to our musicians to prepare us for our invocation and reading. And as a reminder, please hold your applause after this song. Thank you.
All that I am, I offer at the altar of love. All that I am, I offer at the altar of love in sweet surrender, in sweet surrender. All that I am, I offer at the altar of love. All that I am, I offer at the altar of love in sweet surrender, in sweet surrender. All that I am, I offer at the altar of love. All that I am, I offer at the altar of love in sweet surrender, in sweet surrender, in sweet surrender.
All right, let's take a breath. That was a beautiful song about surrender. That great self, Brahman, unexcelled bigness, spirit, God, is the only reality. It is Sat, Chit, Ananda, existence, knowledge, bliss. It is existence, life, the ground of being upon which the universe exists. It is that light of consciousness which shines and glows both inside and outside all things and beings. It is the mandate the bird answers as it flies with its flock in an ever-moving, undulating formation, and it is our joy as we watch their sky dance. It is the living water that comes from the mouths of the great teachers and tumbles down from the heights of truth and love, over boulders, waterfalls, through ghettos, cities, battlefields, through joyous times and sad times, through forests and fields. Creatures drink from it and become whole. This word water sustains life and spirit as it flows powerfully into the minds and hearts of all who hear it. Everywhere, everywhere this word travels, it nourishes the people's souls and all things that live. This cycle of truth continues afresh, endlessly throughout time. I know today that the living words of love and truth flowing from Reverend Kimberly's heights of conscious knowledge and experience refresh us as we listen and absorb her talk. We all are touched by her words in the way that each of us needs, and in our turn, we refresh all with whom we are connected. In this way, in this miraculous tapestry of connection and self, we each play our own part in refreshing the world. As we continue to grow in knowledge, truth, and love, we find that we scatter this knowledge wherever we go, like Johnny Appleseed, who planted fruit trees all across this land. Each of us, with our own unique knowledge of truth and in our own way, spreads the seeds of truth and consciousness. Thank you, Reverend Kimberly, for your sacred word today. I release all this into the infinite law, knowing that it is heard and already done. And we say together, and so it is. Whoops, forgot my book. Hello, everyone. I have just a short little, well, it's either a hymn. It's either a hymn, thank you, or, where is it? Oops, I also need my glasses. Okay, let's do we're going to read a small psalm, very old psalm from the Jewish tradition. Blessed are the man and the woman who have grown beyond their greed and have put an end to their hatred and no longer nourish illusions. But they delight in the way things are and keep their hearts open day and night. They are like trees planted near flowing rivers which bear fruit when they are ready. Their leaves will not fall or wither. Everything they do will succeed. Thank you.
What you know I'm the one that lit the fire. Won't you show me how you love? Won't you show me how you love? Let me show you how to love. Let me show you how to love. One, love all beings and yourself. Two, be a loving witness. Three, forgive and forget. Four, live without regret. Be a loving witness. Won't you show me how you? Won't you show me how you? Won't you show me how? Please, won't you show me? I am here to be holy. You are here to be holy. We are here to be holy, holy, free. I am here to be holy. You are here to be holy. We are here to be holy, holy, free. I am here to be holy. You are here to be holy. We are here to be holy, holy, free.
you two. What a treat. Ah, that was exquisite. I feel like I could go home now. Do you? Wow. Boy, Alyssa Narum, the combination of your voice, operatically trained, and your guitar, and Mitchell, that guitar man. Wow. Wow. Thank you so much. And you wrote that song.
I did.
Yeah. Yeah, she did. They forget to say that sometimes, you know. Yeah. Thank you. Wow. Ay, ay, ay. It's interesting because the talk title this morning is The Turbulence of Love. Last week we talked about soaring in love, and our theme for this month is On the Wings of Love. What we know, as Morel so beautifully spoke, and as you all so beautifully sang, God is love. That is what the divine creator is. If I had to choose one word to describe God, I've often said it would be love. And we are all individual expressions of that one love. So we're here to be love, to be loved. Yeah. The Bible talks about this, as many, really all of our major faith traditions talk about love. In 1 Corinthians, Paul expresses there is faith, hope, and love, but the greatest of these is love. He goes on to say, if I have the gift of prophecy and can fathom all mysteries and all knowledge, and if I have a faith that can move mountains, but do not have love, I am nothing. So true, isn't it? Yeah. So love is the only truth about us. It is the only truth between us, among us, whether we are talking about between individuals, between groups, between nations. That's the truth, the spiritual truth with a capital T, but certainly it doesn't always play out that way, does it? Unfortunately. So taking a look at this idea of the turbulence of love, I want to speak this morning about what causes it, how we can prevent or at least stabilize it, and I want to do this without any spiritual bypass. Reverend Laura Stewart did a talk a few weeks ago, maybe it was a couple months ago, about spiritual bypass, meaning we use spiritual truths to kind of stick our head in the sand and ignore conditions as they are, which doesn't work. Our founder of Science of Mind, Ernest Holmes, often said, turn away from the condition when you pray and look towards spiritual truth, which is absolutely what we need to do, but we can't pretend that conditions aren't what they are, because that doesn't get us through the conditions, as I think you all know. You're all aware of that. So we all have buttons. I mean, there's three, as I thought about this week, I thought of three different reasons why love enters into turbulence. And I'm sure there are more, but I'm going to talk about the three that occurred to me. One, we all have buttons. Yes, anybody here not have a button? I will challenge you if you say not. And you know, there's that expression, I may have pushed your button, but I didn't install it, right? Yeah. And interestingly enough, oftentimes those that can push our buttons the strongest are those that we love the most, yes? Because we love deeply and we expect to be honored and seen and respected. And when we feel like we're not, oh boy, we can get ourselves in a dander. There's a little bit of turbulence, maybe a lot of turbulence that happens there. So it is our responsibility, I think, to do our personal growth. And that's a lot of what our classes are about. That's what our practitioner training is about, looking at our own buttons, the old hurts that oftentimes got installed when we were very young, and cleaning them up. Because, you know, someone can treat us a certain way, but if the button isn't there, we don't react with vehemence and anger. In fact, we're often able to look at that person and realize they're suffering. Because if love is the only truth between us and someone's treating us unlovingly, they're suffering. Something's going on, right? They're not in touch with who they really are. The second reason that occurred to me that causes turbulence in relationships, whether we're talking about people or nations, is when we're out of touch with spiritual truth, when we believe in fear, when we believe in separation, when we believe in lack. If I think there isn't enough to go around, I might fight for what I think is mine. If I think we're separate, I can easily treat somebody as if they're not a child of God, here to express love and be loved. And you know, our reptilian brains, because of our reptilian brains, we have this negativity bias, which we can't really help. It means that we have a tendency to look for what's wrong or what's dangerous, yes? And that's just the way we are. So we have to have ways to overcome that and let go of that fear and belief in lack and belief in separation, and once again, look up to spiritual truth. So we have buttons that cause turbulence. We have spiritual untruths, we'll call them. And finally, what I thought about was we have systemic oppression in our culture. And so there are a lot of hurts that continue to happen between men and women, between gay, straight, we could say the whole GLBT, you know, and you think about all the isms, racism, sexism, homophobia, classism. And I challenge anyone, I mean, I've heard people, and you probably have too, say, I don't have a racist bone in my body. And I don't believe that. You know, yes, I think we can be not intentionally racist, and we don't mean to be, but no one can grow up in this culture without absorbing racist ideas, sexist ideas. You can go on and on and on, certainly homophobia. And we work hard to look at it, to become, we have unconscious biases, you know, and we do. We a few years ago had a couple classes, book studies, White Supremacy, I can't remember what the other book was, but it's a Right Fragility. Thank you, Wallene. You were in that. Yeah, a very vocal part of that, because we as white people tend to be fragile. You know, we don't want to be accused of being racist, and it's not a put down, it's simply an awareness, right? If we're not aware of where we're off, we can't heal it. So one of the solutions, I believe, and certainly the Buddhist tradition teaches, is the idea of deeply listening. Deeply listening within to ourselves and taking a look at what's in here, and deeply listening to another person, even if they don't agree with us, or even if we feel they have hurt us. I forgot to also mention an example when we talk about unconscious bias, you know, just ways we automatically assume if someone dresses a certain way, speaks a certain way, lives in a certain part of town, we make assumptions. The example that came to mind for me this week was I was a counselor at Phoenix Country Day School, and I led a group for the juniors. It was called Junior Leadership. I was training them to be counselors on the freshman trip, and we explored all kinds of personal growth stuff. It was a great, great time, and it was a privilege to be in there. Teachers had to recommend you. And the first day of one of my leadership groups, a young man whose name begins with a J, so I'll just call him J, walked in, and he was dressed in all black, and he had spiked jewelry, like spiked bracelets and spiked necklaces, and he had a large keychain, you know those large keychains hanging out of his back pocket. And I looked at him and I went, oh boy, you know, kind of went, what's he doing here? And, you know, he must be kind of a tough character. When I got to know Jay, I have never met anybody with a softer, kinder heart. It had nothing to do with my impression of what he looked like. So, you know, to catch ourselves and say, I love Byron Katie's work. You know, when we make assumptions about the world or about another person's intentions, when she works with someone, she'll ask, is it true? And the person will answer yay or nay, and she'll go, well, how do you know it's true? Is it really true? And generally speaking, one figures out that I don't know for sure that's true. I didn't know for sure anything was true about any of those kids when they walked in, based on not knowing them and how they appeared. Our founder of Science of Mind, Ernest Holmes, said, if we look for a God of love, we must look long and deeply into each other. We must look away from the differences until we penetrate into the unity of the whole. Love alone reveals love. Hate but hides the gleam. It reminds me of an MLK quote, right? Hatred doesn't cure hatred. Only love will do that. So there was a story in our book of the month by Buddhist monk Thich Nhat Hanh. The book is called Teachings on Love. And it's rather an extreme example of the turbulence of love, but I think that it's a good teaching story. In Vietnam, he writes, there is a well-known story about a young couple. The husband was sent off to war. The wife was pregnant, and he had to leave her behind. 3 years later, he's released from the army, and he returns, and she goes out to meet him at the village gate, brings the little boy along with her, and there are tears and just joy and the reunion. They hug each other, and they're very thankful, because of their tradition, to their ancestors for protecting them all during the time he was away. So he sends the wife to the market to purchase flowers and fruit and other offerings to lay at the altar of the ancestors. And while she's gone, he says to the little boy, "You can call me Daddy." And the little boy says, "No, you're not my daddy. My daddy used to come every night, and my mother would talk to him and cry. When mother sat down, Daddy sat down too. When mother lay down, Daddy lay down." Hearing these words, the young father's heart turned to stone. When his wife returned, he couldn't even look at her. He laid out the mat and offered the fruit and offerings to the ancestors, made his prostrations, rolled up the mat, and walked away. Didn't even allow his wife to do her prostrations. He believed she wasn't worthy to present herself to the ancestors. That day, he walked out of the house, spent his days drinking and walking around the village. His poor wife couldn't understand why he was acting that way. Finally, after 3 days of agony, after waiting for him all this time and receiving this greeting, or lack thereof, she could bear it no longer. She jumped into the river and drowned herself. The evening after the funeral, the young father lit a kerosene lamp, and his little boy shouted, "There's my daddy." He pointed to his father's shadow projected on the wall and said, "My daddy used to come every night just like that, and my mother would talk to him and cry a lot. When my mother lay down, he lay down. When my mother sat down, he sat down." Months before, what had happened is the child had asked his mother who was his father, and she had pointed to her shadow on the wall and said, "This is your father." She missed him so much, and he used to cry to her shadow, "Darling, you've been away for too long. How can I raise our child alone?" Now the young father understood, but it was too late. Here is what Thich Nhat Hanh suggests he could have done to avoid this turbulence in love. There are mantras that the Buddhists use, and there are many in this book. One of them is, "Darling," if you're talking to your beloved or friend. "I suffer so much. I suffer so much." His pride kept him from telling her how hurt he was. But then her pride kept her from telling him, "I suffer so much too. I don't understand why it is you're treating me this way." Had either one of them swallowed their pride and been willing to confess and be vulnerable that they're suffering and initiated a conversation, this tragedy could have been avoided. Now, it's a pretty extreme example, but think about it. How many times when you've been hurt by somebody, I know I've done it, have you toughened up and pretended like you just were? Anger so often covers up hurt, yes? So very often. Sometimes I gotta say, from my experience counseling, women are a little better at saying I'm hurt, and men are better at saying I'm angry. But you know what? There's no black and white here, right? So there are two mantras that Thich Nhat Hanh suggests, if I can find them. Yes, one is if someone's treating you in a way, or treating anybody in a way that you don't think is loving, remember before we talked about, okay, therefore they are suffering, you might say, "Darling," or "My friend," whatever the case be, I know you're suffering. That is why I am here for you. I know you're suffering. That is why I'm here for you. That alone can soften the situation. And again, if you're the one that's hurt, darling, I'm suffering, and offer that up. Yeah. You know, turbulence. I'm thinking about airplanes, and when they hit turbulence, what happens? The pilot turns on fasten your seatbelt sign, right? And then I think usually the pilot consults the weather, and if it's possible, flies up to an altitude to be above the turbulence. And I think that's a good metaphor. We have to fasten our seatbelts when we have turbulence, in that we have to prepare to go through the turbulence. We have to have the difficult conversations. We have to be vulnerable. We have to remember the spiritual truth, but there's messiness going on and we need to deal with it. And we need to raise our consciousness to a higher level where we remember spiritual truth in the process. So it really is a lot like moving through turbulence in an airplane. So talking directly to the person is so important, yes? A lot of times, I know I don't always want to have the difficult conversations. Thank you very much. Could we just skip this part? Anybody else? I was going to remind you of our covenant. And you know, the other thing that occurred to me, I was married for 24 years, and for most of those years, it was a very good union. And we used to argue. I don't know if anybody else argue with your spouse. We used to argue, and it was painful at the time, but I began to notice that every morning after we'd had an argument, there was an understanding that had developed. So despite my feeling that he wasn't hearing me, and I'm sure he had the feeling I wasn't hearing him, there was communication going on. Anybody else ever experienced that? That the arguments were productive. So nobody likes to argue, but I think in a way, it's more dangerous if we don't express ourselves. So in our community, many of you are aware, if you've become an official member, you are aware that we have a part of our covenant that deals with turbulence in love, turbulence in community, turbulence in relationships. And it happens. We're a spiritual community, right? And we all think we want to stay on the spiritual path, but we're human. And we have conflict. It happens. So I'm going to read you this stipulation in our covenant, just as a reminder. For the resolution of any conflict or challenge I may have with anyone or any issue in our CSL RV unity community or elsewhere, anywhere in my life, I commit to first turn to prayer, treatment, and meditation. If we can treat ourselves or seek prayer if we need it, that alone goes a long way to helping to resolve our feelings. Secondly, to turn to a practitioner or other spiritual support person. If we can't pray it ourselves and we need support, that's an awesome thing to do. But thirdly, to speak with clarity and honesty only to the person or persons involved. In other words, we can go to somebody for prayer and support in knowing how to communicate to the person we're having conflict with, but we don't go to 10 other people and say, you know what she did? That's destructive, right? That's gossip. It's triangulation. So we keep it clean. And you know, I believe this is a fairly healthy, robust community, and I believe that is in large part why. Because when stuff comes up, we have a commitment to deal with it. Yeah. Another tool that I was remembering as I mulled all of this about turbulence in relationships is a wonderful soul named Marshall Rosenberg. Anybody familiar with Marshall Rosenberg's work? He developed something called nonviolent communication. I had the pleasure, I can't remember where I was, probably in Phoenix, Arizona, of attending, no, I think it was in California, of attending a workshop with Marshall. What a sweet, dear soul. So in NVC, there are steps if you have a conflict with somebody. Steps to avoid, immediately going to a full-on clash. The first thing is you make an observation. An observation, it's a very objective statement of fact. It's not a judgment. It's not, you did this and you treated me like, you know what. It's, I noticed you, okay, well, let me give you an example. let me go through the 4 steps first. So first it's an observation, then it's a feeling. But he has giraffe puppets and jackal puppets. And when you talk about your feeling, you can't be a jackal. You have to be a giraffe. You have to be sweet. In other words, you can say, I felt distressed, or I felt alone. You can't say, I felt stamped on, because that is an accusation, right? Then you talk about your need. I have a need for gentle communication. I have a need for order, whatever it is. And then you ask a question. You don't make a demand. Would you be willing to consider doing this? And you have to know that the person has a right to say yay or nay. So here's an example. I don't know why this example always sticks in my head. I may have shared it with you years ago, but there's a mother who is home when her children get home from school, and the 3 kids walk in and they're tired and they throw the backpack here and take their shoes and socks off here and leave their books, and the living room is a mess. And she's tried again and again to get them to, be more orderly, to no avail. So she sits them down and she says, I notice, observation, that when you guys get home, you spread your stuff in different parts of the living room, okay? Observation, not a blame. I feel upset. She's not saying you did something wrong, but I feel upset. I have a need for order. I have a need for things to look nice. Would you consider, I'm going to put a basket here by the front door, and there are hooks over here in the entryway. Would you consider putting your shoes and socks and stuff in the basket and hanging your backpacks up here on the hooks when you come in from home? And then they get to say, yeah, Mom, or they get to be a little cantankerous, and that's okay. But you see how it broaches the subject in a non-confrontational way. There are so many tools to deal with turbulence. There really are. I think meditation is one of the biggest ones. Anybody ever notice, if you've meditated and gotten to that place of equanimity and peace in the morning, and something happens, it doesn't necessarily have to be something someone did. It could be traffic, it could be anything. If you've meditated and you're starting your day in that place of peace, it's a little easier to navigate those waters, right? You get not quite so thrown off by the turbulence. And the same if someone does something to upset you. So just a reminder that that's the way it is. There's a beautiful mantra, and I can't remember if it comes from this book, very possibly because it's full of mantras, but a suggested mantra when you wake up in the morning, when you open your eyes, to simply say and recognize, love is here. Love is here. Meaning what? I'm surrounded by love. God is here. Love is here in the next room if I live with somebody. For me, love is here in my kitty who loves to sleep on my bed with me. Love is here. It's a great way to start your day. So, one last thing I wanted to share, and I think I've shared this before, and it is so true. How do we even broach addressing turbulence in love? If love is really the truth of who we are, and it's the only truth between us, and really it doesn't look like that a lot of the time on this earth plane, how in heck do we manage to start? I think the Taoists have a great answer. This is a peace prayer attributed to Lao Tzu, the Chinese philosopher from the 6th century BC. Spiritual truth does not change. He wrote, if there is to be peace in the world, there must be peace in the nations. If there's to be peace in the nations, there must be peace in the cities. If there's to be peace in the cities, there must be peace between neighbors. If there's to be peace between neighbors, there must be peace in the home. And if there's to be peace in the home, there must be peace in the heart. So, my friends, where does it start? Right here. Right here. Imagine a world where there was peace in every home, where all members were willing to navigate the turbulence of love by moving through it rather than around it, by being vulnerable and communicating, by remembering to be lifted up to a higher level, whether that means through meditation or prayer to see spiritual truth. Imagine if everyone were treated with loving, kind words. Imagine if when someone was upset, we said, my darling, you're suffering, I notice it. Or when I was upset, I said, I'm suffering. Imagine the ripples of children that grow up in that environment and adults who continue to function in that environment. The ripples for dealing with neighbors, dealing with politics, and imagine the leaders who would be leading nations to communicate rather than go to war. Peace in the heart. Let's go into prayer. I recognize once more that there is one life, one consciousness, one presence, one source of all there is, the ground of all being, the foundation of life. It goes by so many names. I will simply call it spirit. Cosmic consciousness, the physicists would say. It is a beneficent power. It is a power for good, for love, for peace, for harmony, for infinite abundance, order, beauty, freedom, so much more. It permeates all of life, from the most infinitesimal particle to the universe beyond what we even have discovered. It is certainly what breathes us, what lives us. Each of us, not just some of us. And if that spirit, that source is all there is, we are each it. We can't be separate from it. It is the truth, the foundation, the essence of who we are. So I know that we are capable, in fact, of remembering that, of reminding each other of that, of being vulnerable when things go a little awry, of fastening that seatbelt and lifting our consciousness higher and being willing to have the difficult conversations. Be willing to be a giraffe and not a jackal when we need someone to change, and being willing to take no for an answer. We can be the change we want to see. We so are the change we want to see. So I bless this community. I bless all of our spiritual teachers. I bless our ancestors, especially our spiritual ancestors, giving great thanks for these teachings, these truths, and giving thanks for the love that exists in each one of us, in this community, in this nation, in this world. And when we begin to look for the love rather than the conflict, rather than the turbulence, oh, don't we see it? So many examples I had myself this week. I won't mention them in a prayer, but ask me afterwards and I'll share them. I am so grateful to know we are love in action. So I know whatever obstacles we may face, we have the power, the resources to move through them. Like that pilot in the plane, we know what to do, and we have the support to do it. I release this prayer now into the heart of God, that infinite law that always says yes, and I invite us to say together, and so it is. Amen.
I can see you in me. Only real love can be our freedom nowhere to look but here. I love you. I love you. I love you. I love you. Living inside a dream. Life is not what it seems. Real love can know no pain. So let us try again. I love you. I love you. I love you. Love you. The war inside our mind is taking all our time. And this story never ever ends. So let us try again. I love you. I love you. I love you. I love you.
And we love you, Alyssa and Mitchell. Time now for our tithes and offerings. Thank you to Sue and Virginia for being our ushers this morning. Thank you to those watching online, including Kathy Rummel and DeLacy Patterson. Shout out to you. Those of you watching online can give on our website or a QR code, which you'll see up there. Let's do our affirmation together, and thank you all so much for continuing to support the work we do. You ready? Graciously I give from a place of love, knowing that as I give, so do I richly receive. So it is.
Om tare tu tare, tu re soha. 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 Om
you. Time for announcements. Before I bring Treasure up, I have one late-breaking announcement. Michael Allen, who has done cleaning once a week for us at the center, is moving. Sad for us, but I'm excited for him. He's moving to the central coast of Oregon, and I think that he's excited. But we're looking for a new person to do cleaning. He usually did it on Saturday, but we're open to the day of the week. So if you know anybody who might be interested in being hired to do that, please let me know, or one of our board members. And Treasure, come on up and tell us what else is going on here.
Oh, so many things.
I know.
I know. Okay, thank you. One of my favorite things. All right. Good morning, everyone. So as Reverend Kimberly mentioned earlier, we're going to be treated to a marvelous concert about 12:15 here in the sanctuary by Alyssa and Mitchell. I can hardly wait. And that is a fundraising concert, and they have generously agreed to split the proceeds with us. We're asking a $20 donation, but no one will be turned away. On Tuesday, we have Tai Chi at 10 a.m. and poetry as spiritual practice at 11. Let's see, now I know there was a Wednesday. Wednesday? Not this week. Not this week. All right. Reverend Kimberly is offering a wonderful new class starting on Wednesday. There is a Wednesday, September 3rd. She has details for us right now.
Okay, you were right.
I nailed it.
So how many of you have taken Essential Ernest Holmes? Yeah. How many of you liked Essential Ernest Holmes? All right. I love this class. It is it's a compilation of writings from Ernest Holmes, not all just from the textbook, which some people find difficult to read. I've met a couple people in my life who've read it start to finish without any class to back them up, but they're rare. But he is a prolific writer, and we examined some of the more mystical writings of Ernest, some of the more controversial writings that were excised from the new edition after the original edition. Our discussions are lively. It is a wonderful class. It is accredited, so if you're at all interested in the path to practitioner training, this would be a great class. Plus, I just keep hearing from people that taking classes makes you make friends and connect with people and just feel more a part of the community. So I have an early bird tuition available through the 28th of August. You save $50. Normally tuition is $245, which includes the $45 registration fee sent to home office. So $195 includes everything. There is a book. You want to order the Essential Ernest Holmes on Amazon or wherever you get your books. And if you have any questions, please let me know. But there's ooh, did I remember the sign-up sheet, Viv? Oh, Viv doesn't do that anymore. Okay, I'll create a sign-up sheet. I created one on I have my computer with me. Okay, I think I can print the sign-up sheet. Oh boy, oh well, if not, I will put a makeshift sign-up sheet. So just put your name, your email, your phone number. Yes? Is there? Okay, thank you. So somebody was on the ball. I can't remember if maybe I sent it to Michaela. Thank you, V. Thank you. All right. So sign up in the social hall and see me if you have any questions. I think that's it. Thanks, Treasure.
Clearly, it takes a village. Awesome. Thank you, Kimberly. So Reverend Laura Stewart is hosting a bi-monthly spiritual living circle the first and third Sunday mornings of each month from 9 to 9:50, so just before the meditation. The group will be discussing selected articles from Science of Mind magazine. Participants are welcome to attend as frequently as their schedules permit. The first meeting will be on Sunday, September the 7th. We're looking for volunteers for our upcoming pet blessing on Saturday, September 20th at Tuvale Park. Please sign up in the Bosworth Hall. And our weekly e-newsletter with all of our regularly scheduled meetings and also upcoming events, Tai Chi, poetry is a spiritual practice on Tuesdays. For those who do not get that new e-newsletter, there's always a printed copy of the current event, the current week available on our information table in the Bosworth Hall. But you can sign up to get your very own e-newsletter in your inbox here in the Bosworth Hall, on the website, or email us at cslroguevalley@gmail.com. And I have to tell you, it's your fault. It's your fault. I cannot seem to get my head together. You so moved me with your music today. Yeah. So thank you. Thank you. So I'm going to try this again. All right. One prayer box in the back of the sanctuary for CSL and Unity CSL. You'll find prayer request forms in the rack underneath our purple chairs, or at the back of the sanctuary. We'd love to pray with and for you. And that prayer goes to our prayer team here locally and also the Unity Prayer Ministry as well. So join us today after service in the Bosworth Hall for refreshments and fellowships. Hang around, come and hear some more amazing music after that.
Thank you, Treasure. So before we do our final closing song, I want to invite our practitioners and ministers in the room to come forward. They're here for you, to know truth for you. And I have a little something to share by way of a benediction. This is a tradition in Vietnam, which I think we could learn a lot from that country that was our enemy, in quotes, for a while. There's a wonderful tradition that after a battle where the enemy general has been killed, an altar is set up to honor him. It's a way of saying, though we did not want to, we were forced to kill you. Now that you're gone, we dedicate this altar to you. We know that you were following the orders of your own king. Perhaps you didn't want to invade or fight us, just as we did not want to kill you, but you had no choice. The Vietnamese followed that custom for many centuries, and Thich Nhat Hanh writes, you can see by that custom how love, compassion, joy, and equanimity penetrated the culture of Vietnam over a long period of time. And he says this, I believe that in the future there will be shrines built in Vietnam to honor all the American GIs who lost their lives in Vietnam. This is our tradition, the healing power of love and forgiveness. Turning it over to you.
Yeah, please stand as you're able. We're going to sing This Little Light of Mine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. In my brother's heart, I'm gonna let it shine. In my brother's heart, I'm gonna let it shine. In my brother's heart, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. In my sister's soul, I'm gonna let it shine. In my sister's soul, I'm gonna let it shine. In my sister's soul, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Ooh, this little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Let it shine.